Welcome to the Sharon Jones Show, where we're keeping up with the Joneses. And now here's your host, Sharon Jones.
Welcome to the Sharon Jones Show. Today I have a great show lined up for you. I have Pastor Garner that's going to be talking with us, and he is the author of a great book, and we'll talk to you just in a minute. So keep it locked. We'll be right back.
God bless you. I'm Alice Hubbard from the True Believers Ministry Christian Center Church, where we're here to extend a personal invitation for you to join us each Sunday at 11:30 a.m. and Wednesday at 7 p.m., where we're making disciples, preaching the truth of the gospel that save lives, heal the sick, and bind the brokenhearted. Jesus loves you, and I do too. See you soon.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Welcome back to the Sharon Jones Show. Just sitting here talking with Pastor Garner on set, which is a book writer and so much more to him. So I want to greet you. How you doing?
Fine, thank you, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Good. Thank you. The Eyes of the Watchman is the main thing that put me in contact with you. I heard about there's a guy that wrote a grand book and you need to interview him, Miss Sharon, and you were highly recommended by a young lady to me, and that gave some attention. And thank God for your assistant, your co-pastor, Mr. Rick. So we thank God for him. But the contact has been good also to change some things, my thoughts on some things that was inside of my head with you as far as starting to read your book. Because and I find it's quite interesting. I think every Christian needs one of these books. But anyway, can you tell the viewers hi?
Yes, ma'am. Hi. I appreciate being here today, and I'd just like to talk a little bit about what God had laid on my heart for the book and just kind of how it came about, because I get a lot of questions about that, because I have a unique walk in life. I've had it from childhood up, and as I've been growing through the ministry, God has been changing and tuning it, and so here I am, and I finally wrote the book. It was hard for me to write it to begin with, because I've always been like in the tent ministries and things, a behind the scenes guy. So I would set the chairs up, and I would put the stakes in, and I would be the one praying with people and things like that. And God said, take all the experiences that you had throughout your life. I'm 53 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 53. And
Bless.
put it down in a book and get it out there, because it's time for people to know that these things are real and these things do exist. So it was a little struggle for me, because I was used to being in the back. Now I'm in the front.
Yes.
And I'm preaching. I'm a pastor, and I travel. We're building a church in Guatemala, so we have mission works, and I'm in everywhere doing all kind of things. So it's really good, but it's all for the glory and edification of the Father, not of man. And so that's, as long as I keep that in mind and keep doing it, then I keep going. But I'm used to, like I said, being behind, but now I'm in the front. So here I am with you.
That's a blessing. They say the last comes first.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
So that's how your life just rotated into a new position.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure because of your humbleness and your faithfulness to the ministry and to the gospel, and that's why now you're on the front. And you can hold that.
Yes,
that's why you've been placed there. He won't put you nowhere that you shouldn't be.
Thank
He
you.
does the elevations.
That's right.
And I'm excited to be on set with you today.
It's good work.
And I'm looking at your gear here.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me a little bit about your shawl that you're wearing?
Yes, I'm kind of unique, so to speak. I'm a full gospel minister with a Jewish prayer shawl.
Okay.
So the way it came about was my wife and I had sent my dad, and my mother had passed away, and it's in the book. My dad remarried later on, and he was struggling still. And we sent him and his wife, Sadie, over to Israel for a 10-day tour. He's never been out of country.
Wow.
So we wanted to do something nice for him. So we sent him over there, and he was over there he actually baptized people in the Jordan River while he was there. He baptized 20 in the Jordan River. They didn't have anybody to do it, and he was a minister, and they said, so he did.
Okay.
So while he was there, he bought 2 prayer shawls, that one I'm wearing and one my brother has, and they took them and blessed them at the Church of the Sepulchre on the slab where Jesus had laid, where they laid his body when they brought him down. Wow. Then he brought it back to me, and I'm like, this is a nice souvenir. Thank you, Dad. So I put it over on the shelf. And I have a gift of a prophet. I see things. God's always showed me things all my life. I see good, bad. I see demons. I see, angels, just all that kind of stuff, which we'll get into later. But when we got there, God told me, he said, come walk with me. So I went and walked, and then he said, kneel down. Then I kneeled down. He said, lift your hands. And I lifted my hands up to heaven. And then I saw an image of Jesus on the cross. And off his shoulders, a shawl fell into, and when I had my hands up, it landed in my hands. And I'm like, and he said, take my mantle upon you now and go forth. That's when I started to write the book and started moving to the front. Wow. So I had to know, I'm a know person. I had to know everything. So I got in the Word, and I researched all the different pieces, the seed seat, what each knot means. The blue cord means Jehovah God is one. Wow. This is actually called the seed seat. This is, when Jesus said that the lady pressed through and touched the hem of his garment, he didn't touch this hem, he touched this hem. The Greek word of hem is presbyton, this part right here. So when she touched that, that's when she was made whole. So anyway, so I learned all the different things, and because I need to know. So every time I do a work for God, whether it's preaching or going to a church or going out to a hospital or just being here with you, I wear it because God told me to, not to disrespect anybody, but to respect the Father.
Wow, that is nice.
That's where it came from, so that's...
It's such a biblical statement and such a great biblical meaning, but it's definitely a fashion statement as well, so it's serving all the purposes.
Right, yeah. Yeah, well... Yeah. So,
it's nice.
Thank you.
Do you ever well, I'm sure you take a lot of pictures with it on as well.
I do, because I'm never out of it. No matter where we go, even if it's going down to a house where somebody's having trouble and they want us to come pray with them in their home, I have my prayer shawl because God told me, and I just have to do it. Sometimes people question me and ask me, are you doing it just as show and things?
Wow.
But 99% of the time, people are always good with it. I've even met Jewish people who came up to me, like at the Chicago Book Fair, and asked me why I was wearing it. And when I explained it to them, they shook my hand and said, "Bless you, it's good to see somebody wearing a traditional prayer shawl."
We're going to talk about that. I like that. We're going to talk about that right after we come back from commercial break. Keep it locked with the Joneses. We'll be back in a minute.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook.
Fire in the hole!
And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
God bless you. I'm Alice Hubbard from the True Believers Ministry Christian Center Church, where we're here to extend a personal invitation for you to join us each Sunday at 11:30 a.m. and Wednesday at 7 p.m., where we're making disciples, preaching the truth of the gospel that save lives, heal the sick, and bind the brokenhearted. Jesus loves you, and I do too. See you soon.
Welcome back to the Sharon Jones Show. Just talking with Pastor Garner about the different things and about his shawl and about his book. It's so many great questions that he has so many good answers for. I just tell you, we need more time, but you know, we will have to just deal with it. However, can we talk a little bit about your ministry here?
Yes, ma'am. We have a church that is on 2nd Avenue in Columbus. It's 2517 2nd Avenue.
Okay.
And it used to be the old Riverview Assembly of God. Everybody knows it by Riverview. But now it's called the Cornerstone Full Gospel Church.
Okay.
We're an independent organization. We purchased it from the Assembly of God when it was, you know, on sale because the pastor had passed away, and then it went to another ministry, and then it went from there. We bought it, and so we have been restoring it, remodeling the inside, and we've got it. It's looking real nice, and our membership is coming up, and
Very
it's just
good.
we're right in a good spot to where we can be working for the Lord because it's right there on 2nd Avenue,
Okay.
right across from it's called Patty Cakes, a place that makes cakes and all that. So
I've seen that.
so you know it by Patty Cakes
Yeah.
and the Riverview Assembly of God. That's the way most people in our area recognize it. But
Okay.
we have 2 services. We have Sunday morning and Sunday night services. We have 2 in the Sunday morning and Sunday night. So we have 11 and 6, and then we have a Thursday service. We do Thursdays at 7.
Is it a Bible study service or?
It's regular
service on Thursdays.
Yes, we have women's Bible studies on Wednesday, but our regular church is on Thursday. So we do it on a Thursday because we have a lot of people that my dad's known by a lot of people in the area over the years. So we have people that attend other churches, and we do it on Thursdays. So their Wednesday nights, they go to their church and they come visit and be with Dad and be with us and stuff. But that's the times that we have. So that's our church. Yeah, and we're also building. Real quickly, we're building a church in Guatemala. We just purchased the land. I just flew down there and we signed the papers with the state. So we have the land. Everything's good. It's completely done by donation basis alone. We're at the process to where we're going to start putting the walls up. We have people that's donated blankets and things for the kids. There's about 50 or 60 orphans that are there in the area. That's why we're there working. So y'all be praying for us on that we stay in God's will and that we get the walls up and the right man in place.
Okay. So all your life as a little kid, you grew up in the church?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep. I've been in church all my life. At first, when I was real small, my dad went to the Church of God and, you know, just to go for a while. My dad, he wasn't raised in church to begin with. But, you know, everybody either went back when we were growing up, you either went to the Assembly of the Church of God or something, one of the major things, you know, because everybody did. And I spent a lot of my early times, like everybody else, sleeping under a pew or sitting on a pew and things. And as I grew up, my dad got called into the ministry. God called him into the ministry to work as an evangelist. So he became an independent, and we got on the tent in a Bible crusade. Wow. We got a tent with 2 or 3 other ministers, and we traveled Florida, Alabama, Georgia, all around, doing all kind of things. And believe me, you'd be surprised what you see in a tent. So, yeah, there's a lot of
stories.
Yes, good stories, good times.
That's good.
But we traveled and we lived on God. We weren't rich. We didn't have a lot of money. We had to depend on God. There was times when we didn't know if we'd have food to eat, but God always sent somebody. A saint would come by and say, you know, I just felt on my heart to give you something to eat, you know. And us kids, we were like, yay, thanks.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, definitely. But it was good. It was a real good time, a lot of experience. And then I went in the Navy, and I was on fast attack nuclear submarines, and I kind of traveled the world then. And I got away from God a little bit during my military time. But he brought me back when I came back. That's the great thing about our God. He promised to never leave us or forsake us.
Come on now.
So when I got back, you know, he took me right back, and you know, I prayed and repented and got back into what I was supposed to be. And then my ministry, I met my wife, and our ministry started picking up, and you know, then it's been going strong ever since. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
So when was it that you learned that you see things? How did that come about?
When I was young, when I was really young, I would always see and experience things like I've seen spirits, I've seen demons, I've seen angels and things, but I really didn't know what they were. You know, I would explain them to Mom and Dad and tell them things. But as I grew up, when we got in the tent ministry, we'd pray every night after service from 12 to 1 and 2 in the morning. Wow. And, you know, just get refilled, refreshed, and all that. And God would speak through some of our people, through prophecy and prayer tongues and things.
Right.
And one day God was having a session, and he asked everybody, what would you like? You know, and people were saying different things. When it got around to me, I said, you know, I want to be deeper in the Word. I want to see things and experience things. Well, what he did was he took what I already had and enhanced it. From then on, it went, just the doors were open. I've been to heaven. I've seen heaven. I've done just a bunch of different things. If we had time, I could explain it all, because I get excited about it when I start talking about it. But
been to heaven.
Yeah, I've been to heaven. I've seen it, and not only have I been to heaven and seen it, but I have been to Atlanta and took an independent polygraph test on my heaven experience and passed it 100% with no discrepancies and no flaws. And not so much for the believer, because the believer, you know, you're going to believe me anyway, right. But just kind of to give the non-believer a little bit of hope, because we give them that little bit of hope, right? It becomes faith, right? Because faith is a substance of things hoped for. Right. So we give them a little bit of hope, and they start getting faith, and they start getting faith. Then you get faith as a grain of mustard seed. Then what? You can say unto this mountain, be thou removed and cast into the sea. But it starts with the hope that we have to give to everybody and afford them. So that's where it went. And I went up, and I've never met the people, but I figured that if, you know, and God had led me to the right guy, and he wasn't like real weird about it. He did it very professional, just like a regular one. And if they can put people in jail or exonerate people with a polygraph, then how can they doubt that what I said was true?
You're right.
If I've got it. So.
You're right. I'm glad you did it. We're going to come right back. We're going to take a commercial break. Keep it locked right here with the Joneses for more good information, talking with him.
God bless you. I'm Alice Hubbard from the True Believers Ministry Christian Center Church, where we're here to extend a personal invitation for you to join us each Sunday at 11:30 a.m. and Wednesday at 7 p.m., where we're making disciples, preaching the truth of the gospel that save lives, heal the sick, and bind the brokenhearted. Jesus loves you, and I do too. See you soon.
Welcome back to the Sharon Jones Show. I tell you, this is an interesting conversation here, I tell you. Now, can we talk a little bit more about where can they find the Eyes of the Watchman?
Yes, ma'am. It's available right now. It's available. You can get it through Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Walmart.com. You can just Google it online, and you'll see it. It'll come up with all the reviews and all the different things. You can go to WYBU, which is my publisher. It's a Christian publisher. You can go WYBU.com or any of the major distributors online. You can pick it up from there. You can get it on hard copy, soft copy, or ebook if you need it as well. And it has from my childhood up till present, a lot of different experiences of things that I've seen along the lines. I'm actually working on my second book, which is more of my life going forward, and with a lot of this stuff mixed in with it. But it's through my eyes what I saw of my dad and other people's ministries and things that I did. The second one, the follow-up, is going to be more of me, because like you said, God's moved me from the back to the front, and that's reflected in the book. But I tried to write it the way that me and you were speaking now, in a way that people can understand. I'm not a theologian or a scholar or anything, but I do know what I've seen, and I tried to put it down in such a way that everybody could understand.
Great, wonderful, wonderful. I've never ever sat with someone that's been to heaven before. I just find that just so interesting, and I've seen on TV years after years people talking about they went, but to actually sit in the presence of someone. How did you feel when you came back to yourself? How did you feel? Did you feel afraid, shaky, or how did?
Out of place. Because remember, we're just pilgrims passing through this land. That's really our home. And when God opens your eyes up to seeing that side of the veil, the other side of things, it's like you want to be there, because this is like the dream, and that's reality. It's flipped. It's kind of hard to understand or describe, but the heaven was great because God took me there, and it wasn't a near-death experience. It wasn't like, I had a car wreck or anything. I was actually up on stage praising God, and he took me to heaven, and he showed me, the streets and everything. But the coolest thing to me was when I was standing there watching, and there was a crowd way off in the distance, and people with beautiful robes on, all the different colors, but black and white. There was only neither one of those. And they were all coming closer down the road, down the road, down the road. And I noticed in front there was somebody in white. And he got closer and closer, and as he got closer, there was children playing behind him, but nobody would ever pass him. And I knew who it was then. It was Jesus. And he walked up to me, and he looked at me, and his eyes were just so blue, beautiful blue eyes that you could get lost in forever. Jesus. And he looked at me, and his hair was like shoulder length, and it was kind of a blonde with maybe some gold mixed in, like if you've been out in the sun a long time, right? And his skin was olive color, but he was not like the beautifulest thing you ever seen, because he was commonly, he looked Jewish to me. All my life, I've seen pictures of Jesus the way Europeans draw him, with a pointed nose and stuff. But his nose was rounded and everything. He was Jewish. I didn't know at the time because, I was 17 when it happened. And I still remember it like I'm looking right at you. But he walked up to me, and he smiled at me, and he kissed me on the forehead, and he said, the kiss of Jesus is with you. Wow. And then I was back on stage, and I'm going, what happened? So I was so excited and so full of hope and promise, and I wanted to share it with the whole world. And my dad let me, it was in my dad's church, and he let me share it that night in service, and I did. God. And I got to share the experience, and one of the first things a couple had asked Dad, they said, we really don't see all this stuff that happened to him in the Bible. Maybe he was just imagining. And Dad said, no, he was not imagining, and it was true. If he's telling us, and that's what I took the polygraph test on and everything. But that was my first experience when I came back, was with somebody saying, well, and that's why I didn't write the book for so many years. And then God said, write the book. Write the book. I said, yes, sir. So, because he said, you tell them what happened and all the true things that happened, and it's up to them whether they believe or don't believe. That's up to them. It's up to you to get the word to them. Yes. And it's up to them if they believe or not. And that helped my heart so much, because I'm kind of tender-hearted. I would never lie to you. I wouldn't say anything to give you false hope or any kind of things to distract you. But I want you to know the truth, that there is something out there more than what we have around us, that what we can feel and touch and see. God is real. God does love you, and he does want to provide for you.
Hallelujah, Jesus. Amen. Amen. That is awesome testimony.
Thank you. Thank you. But that's how, and like I've had other people doubt, but I think most of the people have been just so receptive, like you. I mean, just so nice. And I just know God's family is just so awesome, because we're all part of his family. No matter what church we go to, we're part of God's family, we're part of his family, so we help each other.
Amen. That's what it's about.
Yes, ma'am.
Unity.
Hmm.
And supporting each other while we're on this side.
That's it. That's it.
Amen.
And he shows me these little things that happen. Like, you know, I can see sometimes in church, I'll see if somebody's having a bad or a good time, maybe an angel will be beside them, and I'll tell them about those kind of things. And it encourages them. Or if I see something bad, then we can pray against that kind of thing. And the people that know me, like you're starting to learn to know me, they know I wouldn't lie or say anything to hurt. It's like, oh, great, let's pray for it, you know, or those kind of things. And that's what I want.
Yes.
I'm not here to edify myself,
Yes.
but the Father.
Yes.
The Father through the Son. That's what I'm here to do and to edify. And if I can give you that hope that heaven is real, then I can help you build that faith, and everything's possible.
Amen. Amen. It has been a blessing just to sit here and listen at the Word.
Yes,
and connect words with the book, because like I said, I'm almost done with this book, and I can't wait to finish up and buy and ready for your new one.
Yes.
And so that'll come sometime 2017.
Yes, ma'am.
God's will.
I'm working on it, yes, ma'am.
Okay, good enough, good enough. You guys, we'll see you guys next week, same place, same time. Keep it locked. Right here with the Joneses.
Thank you for watching today's show. If you would like additional information about today's show, call or email us.
God bless you. I'm Alice Hubbard from the True Believers Ministry Christian Center Church, where we're here to extend a personal invitation for you to join us each Sunday at 11:30 a.m. and Wednesday at 7 p.m., where we're making disciples, preaching the truth of the gospel that save lives, heal the sick, and bind the brokenhearted. Jesus loves you, and I do too. See you soon.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.